but don't fall. Hey, hey, but don't fall. Hey, but don't fall. Hey, I'm getting out of control. Getting out of control with it now. Okay. Thank you for coming back to listen. If this is your first time, I am Dr. Nakaya Johnson, Doctor of Philosophy, specializing in metaphysical sciences, certified holistic health practitioner, certified master herbalist, certified aromatherapist, certified nutritionist consultant, a radionics practitioner, Reiki master. I'm here for you. And I hope you hear from me. So this episode, I am going to be talking about the downsides of spirituality, and some real spill stuff. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people in the world nowadays, they are following trends. Do you hear me? Like, they wake up one day and they're like, oh, I see somebody burning what they call it, the big blunt. I see somebody burning that big blunt and which is sage. They burning the sage, they buying crystals, they look the part, but have no type of background in journey in spirituality. They just do what looks good nowadays. I'm serious. I'm so serious. People are doing what looks good nowadays and not really facing no real spill challenges when it comes to spirituality. You know what I'm saying? Like, when people are born into something, there's stuff that there's an experience that you can kind of absorb from them that you won't necessarily be able to get from somebody that's just doing it for show. You know what I'm saying? Seriously, like, so when I say the downside, right, it's a yin and yang. It's a yin and yang. It's a balance to everything. You can't have the good without the bad. You can't have the bad without the good. Okay? That's life. That's just how things are rolling. On this journey of mine, okay, I've experienced some really good highs. I've also experienced some lows. And when I mean lows, I mean like them type of lows that make you like borderline lose your belief low. And also the type of low that's like, that was scary as H, and I don't want to do this anymore, you know? But you're born into it, so it's not like you can just get rid of your gifts. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, you know, it's like sports practice. It's like football practice. You might not like that you got hit like that, but I mean, if your whole family plays football and you know what I'm saying, you play football, like, this just aspects of the game you just ain't gonna like, you know? It's the same thing with spirituality. It's aspects of it. Just speaking for me, like, and I will be honest, a lot of other practitioners might feel the same, honestly. But for me, yeah. Definitely have been some situations where I'm like, oh, hell no. This is a part of it too. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where I start to bring the educational portion of like the desire of needing to figure out what the blip was that. You know what I'm saying? So along my journey, okay, and if you've listened to the other episodes, okay, this first, you know, situation right here I want to bring up was around the time I was learning how to open up, you know, when I was communicating with Miss Ike, you know. So this was at a time where I was like really on my first steps of learning who I was and how to juggle it, how to deal with it, and how to open it up, how to open myself up, how to close myself off, you know, when I'm in certain areas, like grocery stores and different places, you know what I'm saying? So this day, it was a regular day. Woke up, regular day, just I was just like, okay, what am I going to do today? I think I might have been like, I don't know what I was doing that day or what I was planning, but this distinct part I will never forget for the rest of my days, okay? Wake up, get something to eat, in the house alone. So as my morning's going on, I didn't feel anything. Usually when the spirit is coming or something's gonna happen, I'm being taught now to kind of catch it, like to kind of feel when something's brewing up or when energy is fluctuating a little bit, So I go into the bathroom, get my phone out, Soon as I plop down on that seat, now the shower curtain is open, okay? And I used to that's another thing about me. I was experiencing spirit so much. I used to always keep the shower curtain open because I was afraid that it's going to be a spirit or something in my bathroom that would peek from around the shower curtain or anything, because stuff that I've experienced, was just a little wild sometimes. So boom, sit down on the toilet. And when I tell you, I hear the longest drawn out drag of my name. When I tell you, when you experience something so scary or so eerie that you just freeze and you can't move. Like you have that initial jump, but then you're just like frozen. It's like that fight or flight thing. I don't know. But I wasn't fighting. I was just sitting there. I was frozen. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I hear my name. Nakaya. Drawn out so long. And I froze for a minute. Now, there was a vent inside of the bathroom that was on the floor, like right above where my parents' bathroom was at. But if you are able to like climb up on the toilet downstairs in their bathroom and speak into the vent, or if you're talking loud enough, you can communicate through the vents. You know what I'm saying? You can communicate through the vents. So, when I was younger, I used to I used to listen to my mom conversations when she was in the bathroom and stuff, sorry, Mom. But, I was just a nosy kid. But anyway, so I immediately, I froze for a second and then I jumped up, and then it's like my reaction was late. I jumped up and, I pull my pants up and I'm running around in the upper part of the house. I run around and I run downstairs and I'm like, hello, hello, hello. I'm like, who's in here? Who's in here? I checked every room of that house. Every room of that house to find that there's nobody in the house with me. My phone wasn't accidentally calling somebody. No. But when I tell you that the way that I heard it was how I know this was like a spirit. When you this was written in my book also. Please purchase my books because I said this before in other episodes. This is also an educational platform when it comes to metaphysical topics and things like that for what people may be experiencing that they just quite maybe not know about. So this particular clairsense, which is a clairsenses are your ability to sense things that are beyond your physical nature, okay, that are able to blend with spiritual stuff that's happening around you, that grants you that ability to do that. So this clairsense came very strongly through clairaudience, okay. It was as if my head, like I literally heard this inside of my head, but also outside, of my head. Like So it's when you look into my books and things like that, you'll learn about like subjective, objective experiences and things like that when it comes to spirituality. This particular situation right here was heard both ways, physical senses and my spiritual senses at one time. And it was so loud that it startled me in a way that I could really never explain it. You know what I'm saying? But the way that it made me feel, I had fear running through me. Like I was very afraid. But after that, I did not feel like I was about to be attacked. Like how I mentioned before, like when I was running home from school that day. It didn't feel like I was fearful like that. It was like I was afraid that I heard my name like that and how it sounded. You know what I'm saying? But it's like I wasn't skilled enough at that time to be able to pick up any other feelings after that, because I was so in the moment, like what's going to happen next. It was kind of like that moment when, like, I told you I saw that spirit at my friend's house, and I'm just like, okay, well, that just happened, so is something else about to like keep happening? Do I have to be on the lookout for a spirit about to pop out the closet? So I was just like, holy crap, like what the hell was that? You know what I'm saying? So I was just really, really bugged out about that. And when I tell you, I kept that with me. I think I've only, I haven't really told too many people that either. Like I said, this is Diary of a Mystic, and I'm just pouring it out. Like, this is my experience. This is my journey. This is stuff that I've experienced, and I'm just letting it all out now. You know what I'm saying? Because this is real life. It's real life stuff. Like, no, I'm not crazy. No, I don't have any mental diagnoses. No, like, I don't have any of that. This is real life stuff what people, real people go through that have heightened, psychic abilities. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people take that word psychic for real, and they take it and they just tear it apart into so many pieces where it's just totally unrecognizable. People think like, oh, when they hear psychic, they thinking of like some gypsy, some gypsy with a crystal ball that's gonna tell your future and scam you and all this stuff. Like, when people hear that word psychic, they just have such a negative connotation towards it. But it's like, everybody in this world, if you don't hear me now, you will learn this eventually in your life. Everybody that walks this earth is psychic. Every single person, every animal, every species. We all have the ability to connect to one another. And it's not even by choice. You know what I'm saying? It's the spirit. Like when people say your chemical makeup of your body, it's the spiritual makeup of our bodies, of how our bodies were created. Spiritually, our spiritual bodies and all that, how everything was created. This is the way that it is. We connect to everything already. People just don't pay attention to it. They don't tap into that. They don't want to tap into that. So, but I'll tell you this, the only time they want to pay attention to them being quote unquote psychic is when they have a dream. Oh, I had a dream that this was going to happen. Oh, I had a dream that was going to happen. That is spirit talking to you. That is your subconscious mind that has a direct connection to source, God, the universe, or however you'd like to name, the energy. It's a direct connection. We are like beacons walking around. But a lot of people don't want to take the time to research that. But the chakras that I've mentioned in the beginning of this, podcast, like in other episodes, our chakras, the fact that our bodies are made the way that they're made, We literally communicate with everything around us at all times, non-verbally, through our spiritual way, our spiritual chemical makeup of our body, our spiritual connections that we are all born with. You know, nobody wants to accept, oh, this person is spiritual, or I'm spiritual, or I'm psychic, or whatever the case is. Like I said, I don't even like to use the term, but people only want to identify themselves with certain parts of the spiritual walk, or the spiritual acknowledgments of the world. They only want to pay attention when, oh, I had a dream. I had this profound dream. Oh, I had deja vu. Oh, I was walking around one time and I thought I saw someone out of my peripheral vision, but when I turned and looked, they weren't there. So I just didn't pay no mind to it. Or, oh, you know what? I walked into a room and it just felt like something was off. But, I didn't pay any mind to it. These are all spiritual experiences, people. There is an electromagnetic field that surrounds every living being, creature, everything. You don't have to know that electricity is around. You don't have to see You don't have to see electricity to know that it's surging around you. Electricity has a pull that you can feel without having to see it. You know what I'm saying? We walk around in this life as electromagnetic beacons. You know what I'm saying? Our body is reacting to stuff continuously. You walk into a room that doesn't feel good, what happens? Oh, I can feel the hair standing on the back of my neck. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps. Our bodies are reacting to everything that's happening around us. Everything. Our body, we're sponges. We're like crazy sponges with a great computer in between our ears. We're constantly learning. Our bodies are constantly absorbing information. Your subconscious mind, which is the memory bank of your mind, is constantly processing information. Spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally. Everything matters. Every step you take, every choice you make, everything matters. Okay? But let me get back to my point. I started, getting into my teacher phase right there. So when people use that word psychic, they mistake it for many things, okay? But when you have experiences such as what I've mentioned, how can you explain that to somebody that doesn't quite, believe in what you believe, But what you're experiencing is a real thing, So when I heard my name being called like that, I felt like, I'm like, you know what? This is something I'm going to have to take to the grave. I'm going to have to take this to the grave, honey. Who is going to believe this? Like the moment that when I had seen that spirit at my friend's house, she was right there. So I couldn't hide my reaction, from what I was experiencing. I couldn't hide that. But I was alone by myself. But it was one of the moments where I'm like, I have to tell somebody this. Like, is anybody going to believe me? So I told Miss Ike, and all that. But at this point, that's one of them things that it didn't happen to me again so strongly like that, because back then I was very, how they say when someone's a blade of grass or something, like they're just new and spunky like a spring chicken, like they just don't know nothing. They're a blade of grass. They still green or whatever. So that's kind of how I was in that phase at the time. But it's like I had no real skills to be able to control what was happening, you know what I'm saying, around me spiritually, what was, you know what I mean? I had no control. So at this time, I'm like, damn, is this kind of stuff gonna keep happening? It was an excitement for me, but also like a worry, but I'm like, this is who I am. I had to sit more in that. Like, this is who I am and what I'm going to be experiencing. But I always had that feeling inside, like, I have to do this for other people too. Like, I have to go through what I need to go through so that I can help other people get to where they need to go spiritually. I've always had that thought in my head since I was young, like, that I'm going to be like some spiritual mogul one day. Like, like I'm going to be one to just help wake people up. You know what I'm saying? Not by force, because the tradition that I practice now, I practice Isheshe. I'm on Isheshe. I am proud to be on Isheshe. I practice African traditional religion. I'm learning to speak Yoruba. Yoruba, it's just been an amazing journey for me. But my amazing, amazing, amazing godmother, my yeye, my awesome yeye. And I'm going to have her as a guest on here, so y'all be able to get some of her experience and, listen to her. And, that's going to be a really, really good talk. But she always tells me, like, you don't have to, she's like, I don't have to force anybody to believe in Ifa, because when stuff happens, and she says, like, hey, Ifa said this or Ifa said that, hey, when I tell you that thing is going to pass, it is going to pass. But it's like, I had to learn that over time. Like, at this point of where I'm sitting in my spirituality, I don't have to convince anybody, you know what I mean, to believe what I know to be what is. I don't have to do that. But back then I used to do that. Every spiritual experience I had, I used to be like, okay, like, ooh, how do I tell this to somebody else? Or how do I convince this person to do this, do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I was really on that back then because, it was exciting to me. I'm like, wow, I'm really on my journey. I'm doing this and that. But it's still bad stuff that can still happen. Like, and I'm going to be honest, this right now, this day right now, if I heard what I heard back then of my name being called like that, wow. I don't know how I would react, but I would definitely, I'm able to identify energies now. You know what I mean? It would still be, a little bit scary, a little bit, you know what I mean? Because I'm still a human being, you know what I'm saying? I literally have experienced stuff that you see in movies sometimes, and movies are movies. Don't get me wrong. Some stuff is like, over exaggerated and all that, but I've experienced some stuff, you know what I'm saying? So that's just one thing I wanted to bring up. So when I touch on that note, like, I want to talk about the downsides of stuff. So, the walk that you feel like you may need to take for yourself down this spiritual journey, it's not going to be all shits and giggles. You know what I'm saying? All the time. It's not going to be butterflies and ponies. You know what I'm saying? A real journey has many struggles. A real journey that is meant to change you and mold you and shift you. It's not going to be a straight path ever to wherever you got to go. Changing a career, changing your life, you know what I'm saying? It's always going to be a struggle, but that changing, shifting, and molding is going to shape you into exactly who you need to be. So trust that process. Trust that process. And the way to cultivate your spirituality, to having understanding of who you are, what your gifts are, to truly tap into yourself, you got to put your head down. A lot of people don't do that. You got to put your head down. Like how old school folks, they'll tell you like, hey, when you in school, all the way through high school, even through your 20s, keep your head down. Go to work, do your schoolwork, keep your head down, do college, so you get all that hard work out the way, so you can enjoy your life in your late 20s and your early 30s. You can kind of just enjoy life and stuff, if you keep your head down. When it comes to journeys and spiritual walks such as this, I've been keeping my head down. That's how I've been able to get to my, doing my degree, doing certified holistic. Like, it took me 2 years to become a certified holistic health practitioner. It was so much coursework. Like, I can't even, it was so much work, so many quizzes, so much work that went into that. And same thing for my getting my PhD. Like, it was so much work. And I put my head down. Like, I don't have many friends. I have many, many acquaintances. You know what I'm saying? I have many people that I trust too. Like, there's people that know me on my spiritual journey back then, like when I first started, you know what I'm saying, that I'm still cool with now. But it's like, when it comes to like friends, it's very difficult to grant that title. You know what I'm saying? Because in this life, and what I am able to sense and pick up now, like without using cards, like tarot cards and stuff, it's just people, the quality of people have changed so much, And what I've experienced being spiritual, people will drain you and use you for your gifts. Like, once they're out that you're spiritual, like, something clicks in their mind to where they start to automatically figure out how they can push the limit with you, because first people would be like, oh, that's so cool, that's this and that, and they want to figure out what you can pick up for them. You know what I'm saying? Oh, well, what do you see about me? People have grown close to me, like try to be my friend, and then any instant of something happening in their life, they're calling me, girl, I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and I want to know what's this gonna turn out to be like. Oh, I'm about to go see this man, what's that's gonna be like, and oh, I'm about to go to this party. I want to know if the dude I want to be with is gonna be there, or like, just a bunch of petty sugar honey iced tea. Okay, when the gift that I feel like I have is far greater in understand, like, it's to me, my gifts are described as something that's really important to me, like really sacred. You know what I'm saying? So, like, now, and don't get me wrong, I will give readings and do what I need to do, like what's asked of me. But when I have somebody that's trying to pretend to be my friend and just calling me just to ask me petty, dumb questions, like, oh, I gotta make a decision to go this or do that or do something for my cousin. What you think I should do? What do you see in the cards on what I need to do? Like, what? Like, you know what I'm saying? First of all, some stuff just requires common damn sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, just common sense. And I know that some people, some people in the world might take offense to that. Like, oh, you're spiritual, you shouldn't feel like that about people. But honestly, not every single thing is a spiritual occurrence. Mostly everything is. But like, I had somebody one time, they were like, oh, I was walking in my house and there's a light bulb that's like always loose or whatever. She was like, oh, well, it fell out the socket, like, and I think that's a sign. No, or maybe you need to get that fixture fixed so that the light bulbs won't be loose there. Like, girl, let's get it together. Like, everybody, like, people be trying their hardest to be like, oh, this and that happened and da 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 da. Like, And I'm always the one to be called to figure stuff out. Like, so that's how I'm able to pick out, like, yo, over the years, people just have used me, and people have played their part. I ain't gonna lie. There's some people that have tried to be my friend for long periods of time, and like they don't show their face until I start pulling back. Like, okay, well, like I'll tell them, like they'll come to me for something, and I'll be like, girl, you don't need a reading for that. You don't need a reading for that. You already know the answer to that question. So I'm not gonna tap into that energy for you. And then boom. Well, ain't you a spiritualist? Don't you do this for people? Well, why not? Yeah. So then it starts to turn to a point where now, you being stingy with your readings, or you being stingy. Like, people don't be understanding. This spiritual stuff is not a game. It's not a game. And I would like to break something down, like a concept, okay? When it comes to spiritual matters, like tarot cards, for an example, most people think like, yeah, you just reading some cards, so I don't understand what the problem is. Why can't you just read the card? Right. It's not just reading a fucking card. Okay? You want to talk about just reading cards, then maybe you need to go play a game of spades. Like, because when you say like, oh, you just reading cards, you just looking at a card. No, baby, that's not what's happening. Tarot cards are tools. Cards are tools. A pendulum is a tool. Dowsing rods are tools. Crystals are tools. Just like how the Bible is to a Christian, it's a tool to be able to help connect. It's a tool to help bring understanding to a degree. But in no way, at the point that I'm sitting at now, I do not need cards sometimes, to know what I need to know. Now, if I want to do research and really cut down in on something and really figure out topics, yeah, I'm going to use that tool. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be able to paint the picture with the tool that I have. But there is channeling involved when you ask somebody to pull these cards, okay? It's not just reading the cards. You are stepping into somebody else's energy field and leaving the door open to whatever they're feeling, whatever is on that person now has the ability to be very close to your energy space. And if you're not protecting yourself and you don't know what you're doing, you will walk away with that. You will walk away from that reading carrying what that person has spiritually. If you're not careful and you don't know what you're doing. It's not just reading a card. You have made an agreement with their higher self, their spirit guides, the energies that surround that person. You have now made an agreement to be open to what's happening around them and allowing that into your space, into your mind, into your energy. And it gets real. It gets real. And I know that's like stuff in the movies makes a depiction of that. Like when you go into somebody's house and weird stuff happening in their house, and then you go back home and the person has, stuff going on in their house now. You have to be careful around people. That's why, like, I'm very careful of who I am around, because I'm so sensitive. Like, I'm so sensitive. I refuse to carry anything back home to my kids. I refuse to carry anything back home to my place of peace. Like, hey, like, it's just not going to go down like that. But people don't just read cards. They're reading the present energy in that time and space, because energy is always in flux. Energy is always moving. So when somebody gives you a reading, they're stepping into your energy space. They're channeling information about you. God is allowing them, God, source, universe, however you like to address. They are opening the way for you to be able to see futuristic possibilities. But everybody has free will. Everybody has free will, you know? So those possibilities can change. When people are giving a reading, they're giving a reading of the present energy that's available right then. You know? But no, it's not just that simple to just say, oh, let me pull a card and read a card. No, you're asking me to, like, this may sound crazy, right? But you know, like when someone, you know, when you go have a one night stand with somebody, I've never had one of those. You go have a one night stand with somebody, boom, boom, pow, you have sex with them, boom, and then that's it. But for a lot of people, it's not just it, because now you've contracted a STD from them off of that one interaction. Connecting with somebody energetically is the same thing. You may give somebody a reading one time, but if you don't clear yourself, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, you will have contracted something spiritual off of that person. So it's deeper than that. It's deeper than so many things. This whole world is so spiritual. People be blind and they don't be knowing what they talking about. That's why these people nowadays that be like, oh yeah, I'm spiritual because I got locks. I'm spiritual because I wear crystals every day. Like, I be seeing some people that be so decked out, like having crystals all in their hair, crystal rings, looking so boho and looking so, you know, like they have the aesthetic going on. That I've had people walk past me to get a reading from someone that had just dripped in crystals, and they didn't tell them a goddamn single useful thing in their reading, because they were actually reading cards, like reading what's on the card and not actually channeling and using the information on the cards as just little small stepping stones to the bigger picture. A true channeler, you will be able to tell the difference of a true channeler from someone that's just reading a fucking card. But that takes, you know what I'm saying? It takes experience. Sometimes there are, there's fails. People be failing. There's not like people be failing, but it's like people, you're not always going to have a good batch. You know what I'm saying? Like if you go to the bakery, 12 times out of the year, it's going to be a couple of donuts out of them batches that might not taste the best. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing with spirituality. There are some situations where you're going to get a bad reading. You're going to interact with somebody that don't know what they're doing, telling you false information, cold readings. You know what I'm saying? They just pulling information out of their ass and not actually having a genuine connection to source. So that's another downside. That's like a real downside. Y'all be careful out there. You know what I'm saying? Be careful out there when it comes to getting readings from a bunch of people. Because you're connecting yourself energetically to another person and you don't know what they're carrying. You don't know what's going on with them. If you're getting a reading from someone, you better be sure that they've had years of experience, like lots of years of experience. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not trying to say that don't go to somebody that's just starting, because people have to learn. You got to start from square one at some point. But if you're trying to get a serious reading done, like something very intense, like try to go to someone more experienced. You know what I mean? Unless you trust that person, because there's some people that are not protective in their own energy, and every reading that they give, they're just dumping off their own insecurities and fears and stuff into their own readings and giving them to other people. You know what I'm saying? So you guys just got to be careful with who you're getting readings from and all that. But either way, the point I was making is I have gotten used to being spiritual. That's the downside. People see that you have a gift. People see that you have information that they don't have. And boom, boom. You are now you are now a victim of energy vampires. And for y'all that don't know, energy vampires they're just people that will use you for all you got and will continue to play the part and act like they are not siphoning your energy, but every time they're around you, they're asking, they're begging, they're needing, they're, even when you're not around them, they calling, they asking, they begging, they needing, and I'm all for helping people. Like, I love to help people, but there's a limit. You know what I'm saying? There's a limit. You can't just always, because then people get to a point where they don't take you serious. You know what I'm saying? They don't respect what you do, and they don't take you serious. So they just going to keep asking, you know what I'm saying, for you to keep doing something, and they don't know the depth of it. They don't know how important the steps are to do exactly what they're asking. So I have an example, and this kind of made me understand deeply more about spirituality. So in 2016, and no, it might have been 2017, right? I think I already had my son. So there was this person that I was really cool with. I had created an Instagram. The Instagram that I have now, I used to have a profile picture up there that didn't show my face. I used to just post motivational, spiritual stuff, and I was getting a lot of followers and stuff like that based off of that. And the first woman that I, got really cool with, she was really cool. She sent me a crystal in the mail that she had a tumbler, a crystal tumbler in her house. And she sent me a wire wrapped crystal, a citrine crystal that I still have to this day. Citrine crystals are for abundance. So this woman, and I was just, still, in my beginning stages of, my journey still, this woman wanted to do a reading for me, because I figured out she was spiritual also. So I was like, okay, well, I would like to get a reading by you. And I didn't know that she did readings and she was talented like that. So I'm like, okay, cool. So the day of getting the reading, I was doing something. I think I might have been rushing, and I was just talking to her. I'm just like, okay, well, I was like, we can do this reading. Just give me a moment and then we can get that thing done. Just get that thing done. And I was just talking regular, just let's get that thing done in a minute when I get finished doing what I'm doing. So she responds to me and she's like, yeah, so we're going to have to reschedule. She was like, and I say this in the kindest way possible. She was like, my passions and what I do and what I'm about will not be identified as a thing. She's like, you're not going to downplay what I do at all. She was like, and I'm doing this as a gift for you. So she said, I understand that you're rushing and stuff, but she's like, when my readings and stuff are addressed, it won't be identified as something. It's not a very important thing that I'm doing for the person. I'm connecting deeply for you and tapping into your energy. And you don't understand how big of a job that is. And I had to respect it. You know what I'm saying? I had to respect it. But that sat me down, That sat me down because I'm like, wow, it's definitely more layers that I'm obviously not aware of. And I was still really young. I was super young. Super, super young, minded. So at first I'm just like, what is she talking about, But then it really sat on me. I'm just like, wow, I respect her more for that. And I took my own craft more serious. You know what I'm saying? Because people have done that to me. They look at my readings and look at my stuff more so it's just walking to the grocery store or something, or going to the grocery store. It's really not that simple. It's so many layers. The preparation before a reading, the preparation after a reading, the stuff that's happening during the reading, processing so much information at one time, because the way that my spirit guides and the way my energies connect with me, they show me like a bunch of pictures. I do my readings like through analogies and stuff that I'm being shown. Pictures, images, sounds, feelings, all that is happening at one time during the reading. So lots of times when I do my readings, like my eyes are closed, you'll see me closing my eyes a lot, or just trying to, really tap in and focus on what's going on. So it's a lot that goes into it. You know what I mean? And it's just when people see that you got that gift or you can do that, like they just immediately leech to you and just want to like take from you, they just want to take from you. So I mentioned something before that I wanted to jump back on real quick to explain further, like the downsides of stuff. So like I said, like when you experience a reader that sometimes you just get a bad batch, sometimes you just get a bad reading, then you will encounter a fake spiritualist. You will encounter a fake, person that says they know what they're doing, has a whole following, has this, has that, or whatever. So back in the day, my brother used to live, I forget what that time. I ain't been in Jersey in so long, but he lived maybe like 45 minutes or maybe like an hour away from my mom and dad's house in Borough. So I was on the way back home one time and I came across this house. Like there was this house I used to drive by all the time, and it had like psychic reader, on outside on like a little sign. So one day I decided to go there, and her name was Charlie. And this woman, she gave me a reading. She was, partially accurate, but with me being very young, I took the small accuracies that she gave me, and I'm just like, well, if she's accurate about this, then she must be accurate about everything, the whole thing, when that's not the case. She did cold reading, most of it was cold reading, but because of those small accuracies, something in my brain was like, yeah, this woman she's it, right? So boom, getting, readings and stuff from her. I was seeing her all the time now that I was going back and forth to my brother's house. I didn't tell anybody that I was going to her. So then it comes to a point now, she's just like, okay, I feel like, you need to have a ceremony done. You need this, you need that. So I'm like, okay, well, I was like, well, how much is it going to cost? She says, well, because, I'm using my own energy to do this stuff. I have Roman candles that I'm going to be using. She showed me like this book of like these spiritual candles that were like handmade and all this stuff. And these were like big candles now, like tall. These were big, big daddy candles. Okay. Like, I don't know. I think they might've been like 100 or 200 a piece. These candles were huge. And they had a lot of, like they clearly looked like they had some workings, like used in like real deep spiritual work. So there was like a upstairs that she had in the room that we were in during the readings. There was an upstairs portion that she had where it had like a cross above the door, and it looked like where she did ceremonies up there, right? So she says, yeah, like the ceremony will be done up there. And we have to make sure that, what we're doing is serious. And I'm just like, okay, so what's the ceremony for? So she wanted me to like cleanse my energy, and she wanted to remove like all the heartache and stuff that I had and all this stuff, right? So she said there's materials and stuff that I need to get to you. So I gave her the money. This woman asked me for $1,500. So I'm like, okay, like, she seemed cool. I have no reason. Like, for me, at the time, it was like, I'll trust you till there's a reason that I don't need to trust you. But at the time, I was such a green blade of grass. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was hard. It was hard, okay, for me to see through things that I needed to see through at the time. Boom, gave the woman $1,500. So I was supposed to go back and get the materials when I was on my way to my brother's house another time, but I couldn't make it. So I'm like, look, you're going to have to come out here, okay? You're going to have to come this way. I'm not driving all the way out there. She was just like, you really need to have these materials today. You need to do this, making it seem like she had all these intense spiritual materials and stuff. Child, I met up with that lady. She came all the way to Borough, and she met me at the McDonald's, up there, across from the Quickie Mart. If you know, you know. If you're from my area, at the McDonald's, in Garfield East. So she showed up with a bag that had 2 big bags of bath salts in it. One bag was pink and one bag was blue. When I tell you that these bath salts, okay, look like she done went to TJ Maxx, honey. I'm sorry. Them bags look like she went to TJ Maxx, bought some bath salts, poured them into some Ziploc bags, and you know what I'm saying, wrapped them up like they was like some serious spiritual items, child. And when I pulled up and stuff and she gave me the bag, she was like, I just want you to know, I really want you to have these items. You really need to do this work. Child, okay. So I get the bags and I'm sitting in the car with them and I'm like, immediately, this lady playing with me. This lady's playing with me. Them bags look like somebody niece can play with them. Somebody's daughter could be playing with them and having a bath time. No herbs was in them. Nothing they didn't look, sacred or none of the stuff. All the expensive money she talking about, all the items cost, girl, whatever. So that happened. So then over time, I'm asking her, okay, after the bath salts are done, because I'm messaging her and calling her and stuff now. So I'm like, after I do this, what's next? When's the ceremony? When's this? When's that? Oh, I have to do this. I have to do that. The money is already spent. The money's already spent. I already ordered the candles. I ordered this. I did da. The room is getting set up for you. All this stuff. Over time, time is going by now. Weeks, a couple weeks and stuff. And still, stuff, she just keep putting stuff off. So I'm like, you know what? Nah, you know what? I'm not with this. So I told my brother, I finally told him, look, I gave this lady some money and I need to go get it. And if you take me to go up here and get this money, come with me. And I'm going to give you some bread. So we go up there and I go to the lady's house and stuff. And I told her before I got there, I'm just like, listen, I don't want to do this anymore. I want my money back. She was like, well, I can't do that. The money's already spent. I told her, boom. All right. Well, if you don't give me this money, because I had just I had a lawsuit. So I had money. I was like, if you don't give me this money back by this such and such time, I'm calling my lawyer and I'll have this whole place shut down. I was like, because you're a scam artist and you've been pushing this off and there is no ceremony. You're not going to do nothing for me. So I go to her house that day and she takes me downstairs in the room or whatever. And she sits me down. She was like, I want you to know that all the things that I saw for you in the reading was what I saw. And, I don't do this kind of stuff here. She pulled the money out of her pocket. She was like, this is of my own money that I gave you because I already spent it on the spiritual items. I'm like, well, where are the spiritual items? Why do you keep pushing it off? It takes a while to come. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Okay, thank you. I got the money. And I was like, okay, have a good day or whatever. So I left. But them type of people, okay? Those type of people will cold read you, They will tell you what sounds good. They'll look at your age. Like, you know what I'm saying? And the mistakes that I made when I went there, she said one thing to me, like about having a lot of pain in my heart and stuff like that. So then I just start telling her stuff, and she was piggybacking off of mad stuff that I said. And I know to this date of where I'm sitting at now, when you go get a reading from somebody, don't say nothing. Don't say anything. You allow the reader to confirm for you what you came there for. That's how you know if somebody is truly a real channeler and if someone's not. Okay? That's how you know. And it's truly just a downside. Like, these people, they'll take advantage of you. You know, I had it happen, like me being Onisheshe, me practicing African traditional religion. I've had a godmom before she fake. She was fake, and I was hooked for a little bit because I'm like, okay, she's telling us information, she's doing this, she's doing that, or whatever. But the program that she had us in, she was draining us for so much money and not even teaching us the heart of Isheshe. Not even teaching us the heart of Ifa. You know? Like, she just wasn't getting there. She was really focused on, like, oh, you got to focus on self-love and this. And that's a great thing to do. Like, you got to know yourself, this spiritual life. But when you're on a journey, all that stuff will naturally come. When you're on a journey, all that stuff will be bridged and you will get closer to yourself more than you ever have been close to yourself. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, she also, I got swindled by her too. Like, she just, no. The godmom that I have now, she is in Nigeria. She is in Nigeria. And I was with my old godmom, you know, learning stuff from her for a couple of months. And I feel like I didn't learn nothing. All the stuff that she taught me, it wasn't a lie, but it's like, it was so many half-truths. Like, you know what I'm saying? So many, like, she didn't know what she was talking about a lots of times. But, you know, she did know some stuff. There's some words that she knew in, like, Yoruba and stuff like that. But she didn't, you know, she wasn't where she needed to be enough for me to be like, I need to continue to follow her. Because my new godmom now, hey, I am so thankful for her. Like, Ashe Mojuba to my new godmom. Yeah. Like, I love her so much. Like, I love that woman so much. That's my sis. I love her. She's taught me, and I've been with her, maybe like a year now, and I've learned with her way more than I have ever learned with the old godmom that was just swindling folks. Doing the wrong things. Like, when it comes to spiritual stuff, if you're not doing the right stuff, you will hinder your life. You will have your life topsy-turvy and be wondering why stuff is not going right for you, because you're not right. Your mind, your body, and spirit is not aligned. You know what I'm saying? But that's the downside. Like, you'll face some people, like you'll find yourself going the wrong direction sometimes, but that's why it's a journey. That's why it's the journey. That's called experience. That's how you know, like, you know, and then you're able to tell a story of, like, yeah, I was going the wrong way, but I turned myself around. You know, I was doing this and I was doing that and I turned myself around. The best success stories, you know what I'm saying, are from when you make mistakes. Like, the best stories are when you make mistakes and you realize something and the strength that you gain from that. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's just a beautiful process. But I just want to shed one more story of, like, you know, just to kind of end things when it comes to the downsides, you know. So there was somebody, this was a little bit scary, this was creepy, this is one more thing that I'm like, yo, I will never forget this. And this is just stuff, like, you see the good, you see the bad, you know what I'm saying? It's just the yin and yang, that yin and yang, honey. So there was someone that I was talking to, like years ago. This was before I had my son. This was years, like, a long time ago. So, yeah, this was over 10 years ago, child. It was a long time ago. So I was talking to someone, and he was like a smoke buddy, just messing around, stuff like that. And I always noticed, like, he was just very susceptible to, like, just was popping pills and just was out of sorts. You know what I'm saying? Like, but we were just smoking and stuff, and it was just a fun thing. It wasn't like anybody I would have ever in life taken serious, So I always noticed, like, he just changed, like his mood fluctuate. He just was off a little bit. And I'm like, something is just weird about him, and I was still, studying my spiritual stuff or whatever, and still beginning. So one day, this was the day I was like, you know what? I'm tired of this. Like, I don't like, he's just too much to deal with. Like, I'm the only one coming with the weed. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just too much to kind of deal with him. Like, he just had, not putting in the pot. Like, you know what I'm saying? So this one day I was like, I'm about to cut him off. So I pull up to his house. He gets in the car and he thinks we about to go, like, ride off, go get some food or and smoke and do what we do. So I'm just like, look, I'm just like, nah, like, I'm kind of like good off you, because you kind of, I'm good off you. The stuff that you do, the stuff that you be saying, like, I don't like the way you move, none of that. So I'm like, okay. I'm thinking he just gonna get up out the car and just take it for what it is and just go ahead. And I'm looking down, like, at my phone and stuff. I'm like twiddling like my pants. I'm just trying not to look at him. So he's, leans over a little bit. He's just like, well, I mean, like, why do you feel like that? He just was like, nah, like, I care about you, and trying to make it seem like now he's like behaving with me in a way that he never has behaved. Like, he's trying to convince me to just stay around and stuff. And this is not his behavior. This is not him. So he's already behaving weird. So I'm thinking, like, look, he probably done popped some pills in his high, because he do not be talking to me like this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because he's always done pop something. He's always on something. So he's talking to me. And I look up, out of my windshield. And that moment, when I was about to turn and look at him, I was about to turn and look at him, but like when you see something in your peripheral that doesn't look right? Y'all ever had that happen to y'all? Like, you see something in your peripheral and you try not to look directly at it, because when you tend to look directly at something, the stuff you see in your peripheral is just not there. You know what I'm saying? Because the focus, your eyes are unfocused in your peripheral. That's a lot of stuff that happens, like, spiritually, when you see stuff in the corner of your eyes, because your eyes are unfocused, you know what I'm saying, in your peripheral. And it's easier to see spirit at times when they want to be seen. So I look up at my windshield, because I'm like about to turn my car on and just like be like, look, you can get out. So I turn my car on, and in my peripheral, it's him. But his face is not him. You know what I'm saying? Like, his face is not him. So while he's talking and he's like, swaying his head and trying to like convince me, he's like touching my leg. But he's smiling. I see him like smiling, but this was not like a human smile. You know what I'm saying? This was like the lines of his mouth was going up a little bit higher than a human's would. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was more given like Cheshire Cat type of smile. Not that high, but it was like going up. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I look back down immediately, because I'm like, oh my God, there's a spirit in him. Like, oh my God, there's something in him. You know, I immediately knew from then. I'm just like, this is not him. This is not him. Like, I'm like, that's why he's never acted this way to me before. I've never seen this from him. There's something in him. So I look up at the windshield again, and this time I kind of, turn my head just a little bit so I can get a better look in my peripheral. And when I tell you that the face that was there, it was like his eyes were really dark, and his smile just kept getting long, like wider and wider, like higher and higher, like his cheeks, you know how Cheshire Cat smiles, and his head was kind of tilting. It was so effing creepy. I knew what I saw. That was something very evil that I saw in him. And like to this day, I just see the face so clear. It's just like, ooh, the goosebumps. That scared the piss out of me. Like, I just told him, I'm just like, okay, you know what? You got to go. You got to get out. Like, you got to get out. He just was like, all right, F you, all that jazz. I'm like, no, you got to get out. Like, get out of my car now. Like, get out. And when I drove off, I was so scared, y'all. I was so scared because that was the first time I have ever seen a spirit like within a person. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, hijacking a person, but it didn't seem so hijacked because he was just naturally there, like within him. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, that explains why he changes moods like that. That explains, like, he's probably like possessed. You know what I'm saying? When people are hijacked by spirits, they don't be knowing it. You know what I'm saying? They don't be knowing it. But being so open all the time, popping pills, drinking all the time, like just being so out of control of your body all the time, of course you're going to leave room for something to step in. And that day I saw it. You know what I'm saying? So, hey. And that thing about it, like I said, we were messing around and stuff. So I'm like, oh my God, I feel like whatever that was in him was like having a field day with me because of my light, because of who I am, being spiritual and stuff like that. Like, I truly do feel like that. It was just so crazy. Such a crazy experience. Like, to see that was creepy as hell. It was like some movie stuff. Like, it's just stuff that's happened to me in my life is very interesting. But like I said, y'all, this Diary of a Mystic, I'm letting it out. I am here for y'all, and I hope y'all are here for me. This is Dr. Nakaya Johnson. I am a doctor of philosophy. I am specializing in metaphysical sciences. I am a holistic health practitioner, certified master herbalist, certified aromatherapist. I wear many hats. I'm a Reiki master, teacher. Soon, hopefully next year, I might start holding Reiki classes to start certifying others in Reiki. But, that's neither here nor there. I'm doing what I'm doing. But yes, please keep following me, keep keeping up with me, reach out to me. My information is there in the slideshow if you need to reach out to me. My social media, if you do know me, then, reach out to me. But I'm here for y'all, and I'm glad y'all here for me. Thank you again for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Episode 4 was definitely very interesting. I hit my limit on this one, telling y'all stuff that I've never really told people before, but this is why I'm making this. I need to have my life documented because, when you get older and stuff, and you want to leave something behind, for your kids and stuff and all that, but people are going to know me. Okay. People are going to know me. And that's why I'm doing this. Diary of a Mystic, baby. Y'all take care. Bye.